What is going on, guys? My name is Moto, and today you're going to be watching a first impression slash kind of unofficial review on MXGP Pro on my channel here today. We are in Indonesia right now on a 450. I really like this track. I'm not the best at it, but hopefully you guys may be able to pick up on some lines that I'm hitting. I know that there's other faster creators than me. I definitely don't have nearly as much time in as them, but hopefully you can bear with me to listen to this unofficial review slash kind of like first impressions video that I got going on here today. So let's jump right on into it. So I guess to just crack open, you know, the cold one with the boys, generally I have a very solid first impression of this game. I think that, you know, Milestone did a lot of really good things with this title, and I think that they improve every single time that they make a game, and that's just a really positive thing that that I've noticed that Milestone really kind of has going for them. Now, I know a lot of people negatively review a lot of the things that they do, just based on the fact that they don't really fully have everything down, I guess, necessarily. There's definitely a few complaints still with air physics, and you know, I completely agree with a lot of you guys that the air physics are not top-notch. I also agree with a good amount of people that the air physics aren't that bad, even though they're not, you know, top-notch. In no way are they perfect, but in no way are they completely just so bad that it's unplayable, you know. Now, I will also say that overall the game does seem a lot harder than GP3 and Monster Energy Supercross the game, which is generally something good to know. I think that, you know, when they did call it GP Pro, they were going to have to really kind of knock it out of the park with physics-wise, and I think they did make it a lot harder. They made the tracks a little bit more rough, as well as they did, in fact, make the terrain deformation a little bit better than what it was. Like, even though, you know, the AI are definitely annoying as shit because they take pretty much one line and make a big fat groove, the ruts do hook you pretty good. You actually feel yourself going in and out of ruts. Like, me crossing over these ruts, like, I can feel it. Like, right there, I just hooked that rut and just bounced off of it. Now, in no way are they fucking perfect, like I'm saying. They're not amazing, like, amazing as in, like, they didn't just make these the most perfect possible ruts ever created by mankind. However, they did make them very good in comparison to what they have been in the past. And I even think that in GP3 they stepped it up a lot, because GP2's terrain deformation was literally, it wasn't ruts. They made it just became a mogul track, and it made it really unfun to play for a little bit. But, you know, this, you know, if you're playing with some good people, you'll actually have decent ruts forming, and it makes the track really choppy, but at the same time it makes it so you can hook into things, and it's very pleasing to really play around with, and I personally really enjoy it. I think that they're doing a lot of really positive things with, you know, just improving the way that the game rides. Obviously, there's a lot of sharp edges, and they definitely still need to fix a lot of things with, you know, generally how the bike rides. Like, for example, wheelies actually slow you down quite a bit. In real life, I don't believe it does that. I believe, you know, you can pretty much keep the same amount of momentum. In fact, it actually creates less friction on the ground, meaning you can go a little bit quicker and your power is a little bit more down. Stoppies are literally impossible, apparently. I mean, I don't really give a shit because it's a stoppie. Like, who cares about a stoppie? But apparently that's something that people have been kind of griping about. But other than that, I think that, you know, the physics are all around a lot more improved than, you know, GP3's, and I think that it's a very good base, and they definitely did a lot of very good things with the way that they made this game, and you know, very pleased with it overall. Now, with that being said, there's some gripes. Like I said, the air physics are not the best in the world. However, they're not the worst in the world either. You know, they could be terrible. I mean, they could be way worse. The free whip is not actually a free whip like everybody thought. However, it is a free whip. Now, what you don't understand by that is me saying it's a free whip is me saying that actually it is a, you know, when you do the whip animation, you can go as far as you want. Okay, you can't just use your sticks and whip however you like we thought, but they weren't lying to us. So for those of you guys who are saying, oh, well, Milestone lied to us, no, they definitely told us the truth. It is factual that the whip is free. It's just not the kind of free that we thought it would be. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but it is very true that the whip is free. Because, like, I mean, let me just show you. It's obvious because, you know, you're able to do these 360s, and it's not like... It's not the game glitching and doing it how, like, sometimes you would do it in GP3 or something. You'd scrub something and it would just send you into 360, or even in Supercross it would do that. It's like it actually allows you to whip as far as you want. See, so I can keep going. Like, that's slow. And in GP3 and Supercross, it would literally just throw you around and you'd do the 360. So technically it is correct. Now, what I mean by that is it would throw you around, and it is free because in GP3 and Supercross, you actually, like, if you went too far, it would throw you off the bike no matter what. It didn't matter. At a certain point in the whip, it would throw you off. It didn't allow you to go super far. So, like I said, technically they were not lying. However, it is not the free whip that we thought. And, you know, that's somewhat disappointing, but, I mean, I can live with it because... Personally, like I said, like I just don't use the physic. Like, you don't need the physic to ride. Like, you see the way I'm doing it, like, yeah, it doesn't look the greatest in the air, but, like, I just throw the back end out. It's just, it's style, you know? You don't need the whip to really do anything in the game, you know? I mean, some people use it, and I believe that it is sort of useful to stay low if you do it correctly and all that stuff, but, I mean, it's just not something that you need, you know? It's not a big deal, guys. So that's my thoughts on that. Air physics are a little bit more improved for like directional wise. However, the whip should have definitely been the Monster Energy Supercross whip. I think everybody should have been able to agree with that. That or the GP1 whip, like I said. I mean, I just think just not the move to go to this after Supercross. I think Supercross's whip was a lot cleaner and a lot nicer, and maybe they were just not really worried about it, and maybe they just didn't. I don't know. Maybe they weren't thinking about it. I'm not a developer, so I wouldn't be able to tell you anything like that. So, anyway, guys, that's really my overall thoughts on that. Track deformation I already talked about. The roots do hook you. If you clamber into one of them, they will grab you. I mean, like right here, even though I just railed straight out of a rut, like, I'm not worried about, like, going out of a rut really too much at all. Like, if I land in one, it hooks, you know what I mean? Like, there, boom, I just drove straight into the rut. Nice, it hooked me. It works, guys, so that's good. The ground physics are always really nice in these games, and damn, I was on a heater. Ground physics are just good. You know, you have to let off in the corners like any GP game, you know. It's important for that, and that's one thing Milestone does really, really well, and everybody knows that they do that very well. So that is that. Now, customization, I've seen a lot of people complaining about this, which I think is kind of mind-blowing and a little bit funny. A lot of people are disappointed that Supercross and this game had the same gear, except for a few additions to this game. And I'm just like, I guess I'm confused as to why everybody's like upset about that, because Supercross, the official game, was based on the 2017 series, right, of Supercross, okay? Stick with me, right? So, this game is actually based on the 2017 series of MXGP. Like, you get where I'm coming from here? Like, the gear's the same because it's the same year. You know what I mean? Like, they're not just gonna chuck in a different, like, all different gear in a different time series, I guess. I don't know. They're trying to stay true to the game, and I don't see the big deal in it. I mean, I personally think that they're just improving all around, and this gear really isn't that bad. Of course, everybody knows I'm not a fan of the Troy Lee gear in here, even though I love Troy Lee designs. Troy Lee designs is what I wear in real life. But I mean, it's definitely not bad, you know. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Customization on the bikes. They've got a little bit more different like, I guess, brands in it, as well as different graphics for a couple of them. They took out some of the really, really popular ones, I noticed, but they did add in a couple of new ones. Trying to think about it. I mean, of course, there's different, you know, speeds and settings and shit for the bikes, like, they're all different. They don't perform the exact same, which is something that GP is very good with. I think, you know, MX versus ATV, love them to death, but they don't, they keep everything the same, so it's an even competition, and that's great. But this game really gets it good when you know, you have to be strategic with the bike, and you know, you have to be, you can get skilled on any bike and be fast, of course. I'm not saying that, oh, you have to be on one certain bike, but you know, it's almost like, you know, the top bikes are really, you know, the top bikes. Like, it makes sense for what they're doing. So very, very nice for GP. And the tracks are really, in my opinion, they're rougher, and I think it's really a good thing. I think that's you know, that's one thing that Milestone is really getting right. They're starting to make them a little bit more rough, and you know, that's always positive. I don't know about you guys, but that is always a positive, especially when, you know, you can sit here and just blast through braking bumps. Like, for example, Valkenswaard, braking bumps are crazy on that track on a downhill. They have it, and it's very, very fun to kind of try to just get through them and not die. You know, the track itself is a very rough track. Like, you can lose it very easily. You can go off the track very easily because it's super just rough, and it'll hook you, man. It'll hook you straight off if you're not, you know, on your toes. So that is my first impressions and thoughts. So if you guys want my opinion, I think the game is good. However, I will say, if you want to know if you should buy it or not, one thing that should go in factor into your opinion is, are you somebody that doesn't really like GP3 or GP2? Are you somebody that didn't like it? Or actually, if you didn't like it, was it because the physics were weird and they were hard and you just gave up after a little bit, or you just didn't like it because the game felt weird? In which both cases, I would say this isn't the game for you. Honestly, there's a lot that goes into this game. This game is a lot different in the aspect of, you know, difficulty to get used to. You know, I got used to GP3 pretty quickly. I get used to all the GPs pretty quickly, I think, because they're not entirely different, but the way that you have to ride them is very, very different in the aspect that you can't push certain things when you can push it in a different game. So that should be your factor in. I'm not going to tell you whether you need to buy this game or you need to hold off on it, because that's all on you. You know, that's not my place to decide for you. At the end of the day, you should definitely go watch other reviews, and like I said, I think at the beginning of this video, I got a couple of reviews for you guys to watch, well, at least, unless one of them, it might not be up. It's two people. I personally believe, yes, this is going to surprise the shit out of some people. Watch Spencer Turley's review. Watch his review. He's got it's actually a good review. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that it wasn't a biased review this time. It wasn't a biased negative review. And by biased negative review, I mean, like, it wasn't all about just bashing Milestone because it's not sim or reflex. Like, he made valid points. Everything he said made sense. And, you know, it's a good review. So I'd recommend watching Spencer Turley's review. And if Donut's review is up, I would watch that. I'm not sure if he has uploaded it yet. But I know he'll have some pretty good points because he's been streaming the living shit out of that game, or this game, and he's pretty good at it from what I've seen so far. So that is my recommendations. Why is it that I mess up my hot laps every single time that I'm flying through the track? I don't know. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this little first impression / like unofficial review of MXGP Pro. If you did, please hit that like button. Comment down below your thoughts and opinions on the game so far and what you have seen. If you have any differing opinions, let's have a civil conversation down below in the comments. I know that a lot of people are really good at not being civil in comment sections, but you know, I'd love to kind of see what other people's opinions are and where they're kind of coming from on why they think certain things about the game, and what they overall kind of would like to see in the future. So if you got any comments about the game that you'd like to see in the future or something, then maybe we can, you know, talk positively about that. Or if you have any differing opinions, let's talk about those, because I'd love to hear what other people have to say. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try to upload a little bit more than I have recently. It's been a little bit of a challenge because of, you know, timing and scheduling. However, I will try my hardest to get you guys the best possible MXGP Pro coverage that I can. And I messed up this hot lap too, son of a bitch. But anyway, guys, like I said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And as always, guys, my name is Moto, and I'm out. Peace. Goodbye.